Thank you for joining us tonight. You're now with me, Shal Shaminato, for TVS Nightline. We begin with the headlines tonight. The state government is confident that the reopening of economic sector in SIBU can be implemented by mid-August, once 80% of its residents have been vaccinated. Chief Minister Dato' Petinggi Abang Johari Tunapeng said that as of June 29th, 149,743 SIBU residents have received one dose of the COVID-19 shot.
When you achieve herd immunity, you are protected, meaning that the spread of COVID-19 will be less, because at the moment kalau you expose you kenal, but if you have antibody, enhanced antibody, you can fight back COVID-19, then it's okay. Then you open up the economy. Then, as I said just now, then the business will come back, all that will come back.
What's imperative, he said, is the discipline in controlling and eradicating the virus. He also advised the public that while vaccinated, they still have to adhere to standard operating procedures (SOP), including wearing a mask, maintaining social distance, and washing hands frequently. The Chief Minister was quoted as saying after he visited the vaccination centre at University College Technology Sarawak, UCTS.
At the same time, Chief Minister suggested that the UCTS SIBU INDUSTRY-PPV be opened to the public once the vaccination process for private workers is complete. This is because upon his inspection of the vaccination process, the PPV ran remarkably efficient.
Ya, saya tadi telah berbincang dengan pihak Dr. Anwar dan juga pihak UCTS. Saya nampak bahawa proses yang berlaku di UCTS ini agak cepat. They can do about 1,000, 1,500, even 2,000. Bermakna kalau dah siap semua employees ini, kita berunding untuk orang awam mendapat suntikan di sini juga.
And 2 buses will be part of the mobile vaccination program to expedite vaccinations in SIBU. The buses both from Pransa Berhad and UCTS will target groups such as the elderly and people with no access to transportation.
Dan tadi saya telah diberi penghormatan untuk melancarkan 2 bas, di mana bas ini akan menjadi sebahagian daripada mobile team for us to go to the targeted area, especially orang tua-tua yang tak dapat berjalan.
Abang Johari said the vaccines will be administered to recipients via walk-in.
Give vaccination to people in that area yang tidak dapat datang. Dan kita punya approach iaitu kalau mereka tidak ada berdaftar, kita juga beri jack, dan lepas itu kita secretariat will register them. And this has been very effective throughout the state.
Residents from the Nangasama area in Daro no longer need to endure a 2-hour boat ride just to be vaccinated at the Daro Community Hall as the outreach vaccination program begins in the area.
Satu tempat yang kalau sebelum ini kawasan ini mereka terpaksa turun ke Daru yang menggunakan bot, memakan masa hampir 2 jam. Tapi hari ini kita buat program apa yang kita panggil 3 dalam 1 lah. Bermaknanya ini memberi penekanan kita untuk memudahkan rakyat yang sebelum ini mungkin menghadapi masalah perhubungan untuk mereka turun ke daerah Daru. Yang kita sudah maklum PPV, Pusat Penularan Vaksin kita Daru adalah di Dewan Masyarakat Daru.
Safi says that the PPV services will be improved and the vaccination process will continue in the nearest time to enable Daro to reach their targeted herd immunity by the end of July. The vaccination team has been organized by the Daro District Officer, who is also the President of Daro District Disaster Management Committee.
Jadi alhamdulillah kita harap kita akan lihat lagi pelaksanaannya nanti dan di mana perlu penambahbaikan ataupun program selanjutnya insya-Allah akan kita laksanakan dalam masa yang terdekat dan kita berusaha mencapai hasrat kerajaan untuk kita mendapatkan apa kita panggil sebagai immunity community itu dalam masa yang secepatnya mungkin.
And now on to the COVID-19 development. Recovery cases exceeded the daily infections today with 430 new recoveries reported in Sarawak today. At the same time, it recorded 1 death and 376 new cases, bringing the death toll to 409 and the cumulative number to 64,851.
Topping the list in the state today is Kuching District with 94, followed by SIBU with 63 and Bau District with 32. Meanwhile, the State Health Department had declared the end of 3 clusters dubbed the Sungai Ranan Kanoid Cluster, the Jalan Endap Sawit Samarahan Cluster, and Tengah Hulu Gedong Simunjan Cluster. Therefore, this brings the total cluster in the state to 95, where 16 of it recorded an additional 61 new cases.
And now on to the next update. Only 8 persons, including the marriage solemnizer and witness, are allowed to be present at a marriage solemnization ceremony in Sarawak during Phase 1 of the Movement Control Order under the National Recovery Plan.
The Sarawak Islamic Council, MIS, said in a statement that the number of attendees also depends on the capacity of the space. Prior approval should also be obtained by the potential bride and bridegroom, and the ceremony to be held only at the office of the District Islamic Religious Officers or MIS premises. Those present are required to observe the stipulated standard operating procedures, such as scanning their body temperature, wearing face masks, and exercise physical distancing. It said the duration of each marriage solemnization ceremony should not exceed 20 minutes, including the recitation of the takluk. Customary ceremonies such as exchanging of gifts, exchange of rings between the bride and bridegroom, as well as holding a feast to celebrate the marriage solemnization are also not allowed.
Meanwhile, an anonymous Samaritan in Miri has donated 8 units each of kangaroo internal feeding pumps and Komen syringe pumps to the Miri Hospital. The donation was made with the intention of helping the patients in the intensive care unit of the hospital.
The individual approached State Transport Minister Dato' Lee Kim Shin almost 2 months ago, saying he wished to donate medical equipment that the Miri Hospital urgently needed. The individual also requested that Dato' Lee himself would present the donation to Miri Hospital's director, Dr. Jack Wong Siu Yu. The 2 types of medical equipment donated had to be imported and have safely arrived 2 days ago. The kangaroo enteral feeding pump is used to fulfill the daily nutrient requirements of ventilated or unconscious patients, and the common syringe pump is used to set a patient's number, amount, and time of injection doses. On behalf of Miri Divisional Disaster Management Committee MDDMC, Dato' Lee expressed his gratitude to everyone who has donated to the Miri Hospital and Miri Health Department since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Sebab ni aku tak nak kacak. Sebab dia kacak. Betul. Ha. Nak Elia makeover anda? Boleh. Elia dan tim akan makeover anda. Jadi jangan lupa saksikan Hias di Astro 122 dan My Preview. Tim? Tim! Elia belum lagi makeover.
Jangan lupa saksikan hasil-hasil setiap Sabtu 1.45 petang hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro and My Preview. Legenda pejuang seni muzik Sarawak. Di manakah mereka? Pernah kita orang terfikir apa perjuangan si Dato' dalam industri muzik kita? Kami Yumi Sriani bersama kita merentas legasi seni yang semakin kurang mendapat perhatian. Karya muzik anak Sarawak terus kekal menjadi legasi seni.
Aku Priscilla John.
Aku Studawi.
Anda nak ingat bila ingat kami duai bak program Panggal Kitai.
Nintiang hari Minggu pukul 3 lemai bak TVS channel 122 Astro ngau My Preview. Berperandau Seraya berperindang.
Welcome back to the Nightline. Meanwhile, a 37-year-old man was detained for vandalism at a supermarket at Jalan Lapangan Terbang Lama, Bintulu earlier today. According to Bintulu District Police Chief Superintendent Zulkifli Suhaili, the suspect who made an attempt to escape was detained until July 5 for further investigation.
Kita lihat suspek cuba melarikan diri. Dalam usaha tersebut pihak polis bersama pihak keselamatan Pasaraya telah cuba menjalankan tangkapan. Beliau berlari sambil memecah beberapa barangan di dalam permis tersebutlah, sehinggalah tangkapan kita berjaya lakukan.
Checks made found that the ceiling of the supermarket were damaged, while the air conditioner and several items on sale in the supermarket was spoiled after being vandalized by the suspect. Zulkifli added that up to date, no information was found regarding the suspect to run amok due to the factor of being retrenched at the workplace.
Setakat ini kita tidak mendapat apa-apa juga maklumat berkenaan perkara ini. Okey, kalau kita tengok balik, suspek ni masuk melalui pintu belakang, cermin. Lepas tu apabila dia masuk ke dalam permis tersebut, kita dapati mungkin beliau tidak dapat keluar disebabkan shilling permis tersebut tinggi menyebabkan suspek ini sukar untuk keluar. Sama ada di present ataupun tidak, itu kita masih dalam siasatan kita lagi. Setakat ini tak ada apa-apa lagi maklumat mengatakan beliau dibuang kerja dan sebagainya.
And now on to the next update. After 2 hours after the body of Putra Fadila Abdullah was found in Sungai Bakong, Bintangor, another missing body was found. This time the body belongs to a septuagenarian who fell into the river while boarding a boat on Sunday. The body of 75-year-old Nyawai Guntur was discovered by villagers at around 8:30 a.m. at Ngsera Ulamujo, 15 minutes away by the boat from the location he was last seen.
Walau bagaimanapun pada hari ketiga Opsar ini, iaitu hari ini pada 30 hari bulan, jam lebih kurang pukul 8.30, mayat orang hilang ini telah dijumpai di Sungai Nangasrau, iaitu di tebing sungai Mujuk, Julau, dalam keadaan terlentang. Keadaan mayat masih lagi dalam keadaan sempurna. So, mayat ini telah dibawa ke hospital untuk tujuan postmortem.
In the 4:30 p.m. incident on Sunday, the deceased from Rumah Gerasi Nanggajuk, Mojok Julau, was reported to have slipped off his boat before falling into the river and swept away by the current.
And a somber end for a group of friends as the body of a missing teenager who went missing during a swimming session at Sungai Bakong in Bintangor on Tuesday has been found this morning. The body was discovered during a search and rescue operation 30 meters from the location he was seen.
According to Bintangor Fire and Rescue Bomba Chief Nicholas Belulin, the body of the 17-year-old Putra Fadila Abdullah was found at 6:40 a.m. on Wednesday along the Sungai Bakong riverbank.
Mayat telah diserahkan kepada pihak polis dan seterusnya akan selepas dibuat siasatan akan dituntut oleh pihak keluarga mangsa. Diangkatkan jangka masa mayat ditemui adalah dalam 10 jam daripada masa mangsa terjatuh.
Earlier, the deceased together with 3 friends went for a swim at the river. It was later believed that the victim fell into Sungai Bakong from a bridge. Bomba received a distress call at 3:48 p.m. on Tuesday and a team of 8 firefighters rushed to the scene. According to his friends, they tried to rescue the victim but failed as the strong currents carried him away. It was later learned that Putra could not swim.
A family of 3 lost their shelter after their home was destroyed in a morning fire on Wednesday. The incident around 8:28 a.m. occurred at the Charles Igat Longhouse at the same location which was burned before.
SIBU Central Fire and Rescue Department Chief Sunakaha said 13 firefighters were rushed to the location after receiving the distress call.
Semasa pasukan bomba sampai tempat kejadian, rumah tersebut telah pun terbakar keseluruhan 100%. Dan semasa kebakaran, rumah tersebut adalah kosong, tiada penghuni yang berada di rumah kerana mereka bekerja. Dan rumah tersebut telah pun dihuni oleh 3 orang penghuni, iaitu seorang ibu dan bapa dan seorang anak, dan semua mereka selamat dan tiada kecederaan yang berlakulah semasa kebakaran tersebut.
Cause of the incident and the amount of losses are still pending investigation.
In another development, the vaccination process for more than 400 Parliament staff began today at several vaccination centres in the federal capital. Coordinating Minister for the National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme, Khairi Jamaluddin, said it was carried out in preparation for the opening of the Dewan Rakyat and Dewan Negara sitting soon.
Kita mahu memastikan bahawa setiap petugas parlimen mendapat perlindungan sewajarnya bagi mengelakkan jangkitan berlaku.
He also added that the vaccination also covered cleaning and catering staff at Parliament. Meanwhile, all members of Parliament have also been told that their staff who will accompany them to the Dewan Rakyat and Dewan Negara are also eligible for the vaccination.
Dengan harapan apabila Parlimen bersidang nanti, kita akan ada fully vaccinated Parliament.
In another development, Khairi said Malaysia would receive 1 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine from the Japanese government tomorrow and another 1 million doses of Pfizer vaccine from the United States on Friday. He expressed Malaysia's appreciation for the vaccine, saying that it symbolized their confidence in the country's fight against COVID-19 and support for the global immunization program.
Bekalan vaksin ini akan dapat memperhebatkan lagi program PIK dan seterusnya membantu Malaysia mencapai nilai-nilai ambang yang telah digariskan dalam Pelan Pemulihan Negara. Kesemua vaksin yang telah diperoleh akan diedarkan segera ke fasiliti dan pusat simpanan vaksin di seluruh negara untuk kegunaan PIK dalam masa yang terdekat.
The trial of former Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak's One Malaysia Development Berhad or 1MDB case is set to resume at the High Court in Kuala Lumpur on Monday, the 5th of July. Deputy Public Prosecutor Ahmad Akram Garib said the case was initially scheduled to resume yesterday before Justice Colin Lawrence Secura, but it was postponed due to Phase 1 of the Movement Control Order under the National Recovery Plan.
By Bernama via WhatsApp, Ahmad Akram said they received an email from the court yesterday afternoon informing that the trial of the 1MDB case has been postponed. He added that according to the schedule set earlier, the next trial date will start from July 5th to July 8th. The case was last heard on May 27th. Najib's lawyer, Wan Aizuddin Wan Mohammed, is expected to continue cross-examining the 10th prosecution witness, 49-year-old Mohammed Hazim Abdul Rahman, former 1MDB Chief Executive Officer, when the trial resumed. The 67-year-old Najib is facing 4 charges of using his position to obtain bribes totaling 2.3 billion ringgit from 1MDB funds and 21 charges of money laundering involving the same amount.
Guys. Oh, terima kasih. Cerita tu. Oh, cerita tu. Ada main akan cerita tu.
Ada dengan Muhammad Simping. Ada Mazela, ada Mia, ada Firmandi dan ada kami sekali, Sri Chris.
Guys, tu bukan borak biasa-biasa guys. Tu adalah borak Teh Sipeng setiap hari jam 2.15 petang di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My Freeview. Borak Teh Sipeng.
Dan ingat, usaha tidak akan pernah mengkhianati hasil.
Jangan lupa saksikan hasil-hasil setiap Sabtu 1.45 petang hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro and My Preview.
Thank you for staying with me. Now, Interpol's Project Pandora will be assisting 5 Southeast Asian countries, including Malaysia, in the investigation of bioterrorist-related activities using the darknet. The other 4 beneficiaries of the project are Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand and Vietnam.
Interpol's Bioterrorism Prevention Unit Coordinator Adrian Savignon says that Project Pandora will be replicated in the Southeast Asian region by the first quarter of 2022. Project Pandora was introduced with the objective of increasing the capabilities of the police and intelligence analysts in investigating the darknet crimes. This follows the increased use of the darknet to acquire, transfer or smuggle biological materials or weapons that have since become a major concern for the law enforcement community worldwide.
And Madagascar is the only country in the world on the verge of starvation, and there is no conflict. World Food Programme WFP warned several years of severe drought continues the south of the country, where communities witness an almost total disappearance of food sources.
At At least 1.14 million people in the Grand Sud region have been suffering from hunger since the start of last September. The WFP said acute malnutrition has almost doubled over the last 6 months, with more than a quarter of people suffering in one area. Southern Madagascar has faced 5 years of consecutive drought, and people are losing their livelihoods, putting them in a desperate situation. The impacts of climate change is at its worst in a place that has contributed practically nothing to climate change. According to Global Watch, 510,000 hectares of Madagascar's forests were destroyed in 2017 alone. Deforestation and soil erosion have contributed to the current situation. Families have been living off that things with little nutritional value, which Castro also blamed on climate change. People are basically eating cactus, eating leaves, and it's not like they eat that as a compliment to their diet. That is their diet. The UN and the Malagasy government are launching a flash appeal in a few days for some $155 million and hope that this appeal would gain more traction than the previous one.
We wrap up the Nightline with this story. A South Korean institute said that they developed an artificial intelligence or AI CCTV technology that can detect suicide attempts on river bridges using data collections and alerting the rescue crew. This AI technology is crucial in the country due to the increasing number of cases since the start of the pandemic.
The Seoul Institute of Technology said the AI system finds special patterns of those trying to drown themselves. The system analyzes around 2,800 video clips gathered and data from surveillance cameras, sensors, and dispatch records of rescue services since April 2020. The AI uses deep learning algorithm to forecast hazardous situations by sorting through past CCTV videos and detecting a pattern, then immediately alerting the rescue teams. South Korea, with a population of 52 million people in 2020, had the highest suicide rate in the OECD countries. Government data showed over 13,700 people had committed suicide in 2019. Nearly 500 suicide attempts are reported on 27 bridges over the 494-kilometer-long Han River every year. The number of rescue dispatches surged about 30% in 2020 compared to the year earlier, and many of the attempts were made by the people in their 20s and 30s. The Seoul Institute of Technology, in partnership with Seoul Fire and Disaster Headquarters, will run a pilot program in October and begin running tests.
And that concludes Tvs Nightline for tonight. And as still things are beginning to show improvement, please practice self-restraint and stay vigilant. Here with me, Shosha Metro, and I'll see you next time. Have a good morning.